Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chaotic Little Book Corner. My name's Acacia. Today I'm going to be talking about Girls Burn Brighter, a novel by Shobia Roa. And this comes in at 307 pages. This is an ARC copy. It is literary fiction and it is released on March 2018. It doesn't give an exact date. I do apologize for that. I really enjoyed this and I'm going to tell you why. So this book was really intense to read and I felt a lot of emotions around this book. I felt really kind of shaken by this book and fearful of a lot of things and a lot of emotions surrounding my own privilege and my existence. The premise of this book follows two characters, Purnima and Savitha. They're two young girls, about 16 years old, and they live in India. They are both dealing with life in very different ways. Savitha's father is an alcoholic and is a beggar. Her mother and her siblings are very much unable to keep food on the table and struggling to make ends meet, and so she starts working as a loomer. She sews saris on a loom. And then Purnima, she has lost her mother recently, and her mother died of cancer, I believe, and she is trying to process this death and come to terms with the fact that she's now living in a world where her only job is to be valuable enough to be married, and she has to come to terms with this marriage while processing her mother's death. She has 1 year from the death of her mother until the 1-year anniversary before the marriage can take place. But while that year is processing, and she's processing her grief, she is to be meeting the parents of her future husband and meeting her future husband and behaving in a way that allows him to know that she will be docile and well-behaved and treat him well and be a wife that he can be proud of. The two women meet because Savitha becomes a worker for Purnima's father, and she is a woman who takes over the loom that Purnima's mother used to work on. And so she comes in and she is allowed to take home some of the money that she makes for the saris that she creates, and that way she is able to help pay for the food that her and her family need, and she is able to help pay for the other expenses that her family has, and that is her job right now. She is at the age of marriage, but she is not really interested in marriage, and she's trying to save enough money for her sister's dowries so that they will be able to be married and be happy. And she's quite content to be a unwed and spinster, as it were, but there is a change of plans and she is set to marry, and something happens and she decides to run away. And Purnima ends up getting married and following in the path that she's been set to, but something goes wrong and she ends up trying to track down Savitha and trying to find her and where she went after she ran away from this experience that she had. The two characters are really, really tightly knit and really, really love each other and have this really tight bond that was really well executed, and I truly appreciated it as a sisterly bond and a friendship that was really loving and caring and meant a lot. The two characters grow quite a bit and find themselves and the experience of being a woman and what that looks like and what it looks like to be a woman in a country that really doesn't value women in general. And it makes it really hard to process this feeling of sympathy for these two women, because all you know is that this is how their life is supposed to go. They're following their footsteps of what has been set before them, and you feel awful, and you feel compelled to help them, and you feel compelled to love them and want them to have a better life than is set forward for them. But you can't reach out and do that for them because this is a book, and of course you can't. The way that these two characters interact, though, is so well done and so well thought out and just beautiful and absolutely eloquent, and I really loved it. And I think that for me, the relationship between the two of them is the core crux of this novel, and it broke me. It destroyed me. This book made me cry, it made me angry, it made me frustrated, it made me scared. It brought out all these emotions and feelings that I didn't know I was going to feel for this book. But more than anything, this book checked me on privilege, on my ideas and my identity as a woman and as a white woman in a society and a world where I am allowed to choose who I marry and when, and I'm also allowed to process my own existence and have this experience of taking time for myself and taking time to grieve and feel sorry and feel sadness when I need to, instead of being pushed into a situation where grief is not allowed and sadness is not really acceptable, and the experience of trauma is just pushed aside and shot underneath the rug and just ignored. It was really brilliantly done. I really appreciated this book. I thought it was so beautifully executed and so well maneuvered. I didn't give it 5 stars. I gave it 3.5. And the reason I gave it 3.5 is the writing style just didn't sit with me the same way that I wanted it to. It wasn't lyrical and beautiful and well equipped. It didn't flow the way I wanted it to. And that really knocked at least half a star off from the 4-star rating that I would have given it. Why it would have been 4 stars instead of 5 is I took a while to get into this novel. It didn't immediately sit with me in a way that made me just in awe. It took me a while to get into the story and to feel the feelings and the emotions and the connection. And that knocked a star off for me as well. I definitely recommend it. I think it is worth the pre-order if you are interested in this book. I think it is worth picking up in hardcover if you have the time and you have the money. I definitely think it is a great book and I highly recommend it. So yeah, I definitely think this is worth reading. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you loved it, click that subscribe button down below. If you have any questions, comments, or quandaries, go ahead and comment down below in the comment box. I will see you all on my next video, and I will talk to you then. Bye.